If you clicked on this video, then you probably want to see some food delivery. In this space, YouTubers typically do some kind of ride along, maybe a challenge, some gig news, but I'm going to switch it up. I'm going to do something a little different, and I'm going to show you how I spend the money that I make, particularly on something fun. You can't just live to make money. We got to make money to live, and there's no better way to live than to spend money on some kind of fun experience. So we got DoorDash in this area, and we got silver tier. I don't think we're gonna make it to gold tier. So last time I was at 48%. Now I'm at 55%, and I don't know if making it to 70 is gonna be possible. That's gonna be a pretty big stretch. It's probably gonna take a couple of trips for me to get to gold tier. So we're probably not gonna get there, but we're gonna Uber Eats, and then we were able to change our region to this area, so we got all three, and we should be getting a lot of stacked orders between the three, and so we should be maximizing on our payday. This order looks really bad, but it's an early morning, so I accept it, and we end up in a hot spot area that is gonna have more orders for us. So I get this really bad order, but they cancel, or somebody else picked it up. So we cancel and get half pay. And then, like I said, we're gonna end up in an area where I know there's a lot of restaurants. So I get this order, and it should be pretty quick. We should be giving us a boost to on pace of our hourly pay that we want to have. I get this jackpot order, large order. Usually Uber Eats doesn't really particularly give anybody a large order based off any kind of rewards and whatnot. But I get this one, so we are able to drop it off, and I actually get a even larger tip. I think Uber Eats is, the benefit of it is that sometimes you get a larger tip than what you usually have. I've never experienced a situation where a customer takes away the tip, even though there has been some times where it's been a little bit iffy between me and the customer. This order was really quick because I know where this location is. I know there's a back door to get into the restaurant a lot faster. Don't just always trust where DoorDash or Uber Eats directs you where to go. You have to know the vicinity and how to get to the restaurant really quickly and where to park so you can get in and out. What's going on? I've been getting consistent orders, and then all of a sudden these last 10 minutes been getting nothing. I've been on pretty good pace. It was shooting around $30 an hour, but then it died off. Well, maybe like 29, but then it died off, and these last 10 minutes have been dead. Come on, I need to finish strong. 30 more minutes. When you're doing earn by order, what matters the most is the time. So I actually don't even look at how far it is in terms of miles. I just do the calculation in my head. How long is it gonna take me to get here and get back? So I know that I'm gonna be jumping on the freeway, and that should be able to zip on down there, hopping on the carpool lane. I should be able to get there quickly, there and back, and be able to get this quick payout. So that's how I calculate everything when I'm doing earn by order. We are going to some rough waters right now. Man, that Popeyes really screwed me over. I accepted the Popeyes like 8 minutes before I even arrived, and then when I got there, they started packing the order. That was freaking whack. It's alright, we just gotta keep going and just focus on what's within our control. I'm actually taking this zone with a grain of salt. Usually when I go to a new zone, I'm usually getting like a consistent orders all between all three apps, Uber Eats, DoorDash, and then when I feel comfortable, I move the location, my region, to where I'm at for grubhub. This is actually the second zone that I had to move to ever since I left Seattle and tried to find a new zone so that we can make more profitable pay. I went north first, and then I moved grubhub there because I was getting paid pretty well for the time I'm putting in, and then all of a sudden the volume just like disappeared. And so I think that might happen for this zone too. I don't know. We're just gonna have to just keep dashing this area. Obviously, fingers crossed that that doesn't happen. Otherwise, we're gonna have to be in search for a new zone to do delivery in. Here's our totals for an 8-hour shift, $259.67. That's not too bad. That's over $30 an hour, which is ultimately our goal. I think that this was a productive shift. One thing that I want to point out that I said that we got half pay for that order that somebody else picked up. I actually had to message them the next day and it didn't really go through for them, and I had to complain about it. They ended up giving me the $3, but I got docked for unassigning it. So I complained about that, but there's nothing they can do. So we just accept it and move on. Let's do a quick budget recap. So we spent $15 for gas. We have a modded boat that I previously built in a previous video. And then we need a sleeping bag, a tent, a life jacket, a crab pot, a lead acid battery charger, and the rest of the money we're going to use for supplies. That should be enough for us to go on a outing to go crabbing and get some food and maybe have a night out. For a little adventure, we got to make sure our batteries are fully charged just so we can safely make it out into the islands, and then make sure that we are able to safely make it back in terms of powering the motor. I do have the oars with me. If something were to fail, I can just row back, but we just want to be prepared as possible because, you know, we're out in the ocean. Trying to get out there before low tide was crazy hard. It was a lot harder than I thought, because when I was going for my car and just taking piece by piece out onto the dock, the hardest part was the 2 lead acid batteries. So the motor is a 24-volt battery, or it takes a 24-volt, and so you need 2 lead acid batteries. Each one weighs 50 pounds, and I had to haul those heavy ass batteries out onto the dock, and it was working up a sweat. It was pretty crazy, but we eventually make it out there, and we're just cruising out there and enjoying the morning. So for bait, we got some lingcod skeletons. We also got some chicken, but let's go ahead and start off with that. Okay, so we don't have a depth finder, so what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to drop the pot down and then just like see if we can touch the bottom. And then there's gonna have to be some slack because the tide is gonna come in, and we don't want the float to be pulled underwater. So there's gonna have to be some slack. We're gonna have to check to make sure that it's on the ground and there's enough so that we have some room for air. So here we go. Look at that. Just a little bit of slack. So we have to keep an eye on it, and oh, the other thing that we have to pay attention to is if the ground is uneven, and it might slide a couple more extra feet, but I think we'll be okay. The other thing is that because we're on this raft, so if you take a look at the evenness, if you're standing like this and just tilting back and forth is fine, it's distributed, but it's when you stand sideways that it starts rocking. And so now if we have a full crab pot, it's gonna be really hard to pull up. So we're probably gonna have to pull every 30 minutes. So we'll be back, and in the meantime, we're gonna just explore the area. This freaking bastard right here. Right there, that bee was stuck between my shoe and my leg, and so when I stepped and it smooshed in between, it just stung me. See that little red spot? And here's a stinger. You want to pull that out as soon as you can. I don't think I will have allergic reaction, but we'll just keep an eye on it. Man, that's unfortunate. I didn't get any footage of me pulling up the crab pots with the crab in it. We had a couple of undersized one, but we got one size. I should have just left the stinger in my foot like a man. But I also noticed that the boat looked like it was deflating, so I had to book it out onto one of these islands to reassess the situation. Otherwise, it could get worse. Okay, we're seeing some kind of like sandbar up ahead. It's actually a little lower. I don't have clothes to get in the water, so we're gonna have to take this nice and steady. Whoa. So I could have probably pumped this while I was still on the boat because it's a one-way valve, and you just pump it and look, now it's like a lot sturdier. But I don't hear any hissing noise. You hear anything? I didn't hear any hissing noise before. Like I said, there was just like that disgusting bug. Had all those dead guts on out there and just kept the hole open so you could hear the hissing. But I think we're safe. I think we're just had to do an emergency docking on this shore right here, this little island. But I think we'll go back out there. I don't know if we're gonna catch another crab because I think I can just eat that one for like 2 meals, maybe even 3 meals. All the legs, the inner body. I'm gonna eat the whole thing, every last bit of it, maybe even the shells. We'll see. But we're gonna go explore some islands around here and see where we can stay the night. Okay, so I'm gonna drop the crab pot again, but I'm gonna stay close to this island right here just in case this little bad boy gets worse. I don't think anything's gonna happen. I think I will be fine. I just want to be cautious. No symptoms yet. So we're gonna drop the crab pot. We're gonna try to get one more because we gotta eat something in the morning. Or that crab is pretty big, so it probably could last me 3 meals. But I just want to be extra careful. Or we can just feast tonight. That'll be great too. All right, so I threw this thing down 3 times, and the rope wasn't long enough. I don't know if the tide came in and it's way higher now, but I mean, before we had probably 4 to 5 feet of slack, and now we have 0. It even touched the bottom, so I'm not gonna risk it. I even tried moving closer to shore, but it still wouldn't touch the bottom. And I'm getting tired of pulling it up. I'm gonna have lunch. I'm gonna have lunch and then reassess from there. Pulling it up that many times and then having to row around. I was rowing around instead because I was just a little concerned about the motor. I think it should be fine, but I just wanted to make sure that we got enough juice to get back home. So we're gonna make lunch and we'll reassess from there. Because we had limited supplies, we gotta take some stuff from home. We got a regular pot and then we got this hot pot took from home. It would have been better if I had like one of those little small stoves that you go camping with. It would just be a lot easier to transport around. But we got no money, so we got no money left, so now we just gotta take what we have at home. Okay, here we are. That's how you know it's a male. And just for good measure, we're going to make sure it's legal. But just eyeballing it, you know, it's pretty good. Yep. Look at that. Easily over. So we're gonna steam this bad boy, and we're gonna steam it in some salt water. That way it's nice and sweet and nice and fresh. So just go ahead and scoop up some water here. Just enough to steam it, just a little bit to cover the bottom layer. And this is what happens when you have limited supplies. You gotta make do with what you have, and what we got is plenty of unlimited seawater. So we're gonna toast this baby and then take them apart. This guy's struggling for his life. Okay, so after steaming for about 20 minutes, look how red it is. Just nice and perfect. Smells delicious. So what we're gonna do is you're gonna be very careful. Don't flip it over, and you're gonna make sure, just lay it aside, and so that none of the juice comes out of him. Oh shoot. It's okay. It's hot. We're gonna have to rinse this out and cook some rice in it. Okay, so we got some rice right here, and then we got some water. So the ratio is 2 to 1. So if you have a cup of rice, then you need 2 cups of water. And we're gonna boil the water first, and then put the rice in. So once it's at a boil, you're gonna add about, we have this. And I usually bring along some chopsticks. Here, I just need one, just stir it around so it doesn't clump up. I don't know if that's an orca or it seems so small, but it's just going up for air. There it is. Anyway, we need to focus on our meal. So you're just gonna let it simmer for about 17 minutes. Don't let the steam escape. That's what makes it nice and fluffy and moist. Oh yeah, who needs a rice cooker? You can't be living life always depending on automatic machines. So here, all the water's gone. Just mix it up. Just let it cool off. We can toss this bad boy back in because he's still warm, still good. So we got all our rice done, and then we still got our crab. It's still warm, so that's fine. We don't need to reheat or anything. Otherwise, you could just re-steam it. But this is what you're gonna have to do. A lot of people just rip this thing open and clean it before you even cook the crab. But because we're gonna have to eat what's inside the crab, the guts, because we got a limited amount of food. So let's go ahead and crack it open. See this right here? You're gonna have to eat that because we don't got any money. So here we go. You don't have to. You can actually eat these gills. Super sweet. But we got rice, so we don't exactly have to eat everything. So go ahead and just put some rice inside the shell, like as a bowl. And then you can just eat it like a soup. We don't have a spoon, so we're just gonna have to make do. All this gut stuff right here, you're gonna eat it too. Make sure you get the guts off of your hair too. Food is food once you're out with nature. So I got half a body left, all the legs intact, and then all the legs on the other side. I usually like to eat the body first because, well, under these conditions, just because it's a little bit messier, so you might as well get things out of the way while I'm on the water. And it's easier to just rinse things off. Okay, we finally docked at this little beach, and I mean, it's back to sagging again. If you touch this, it's hard to believe that there's a hole in both of them, in both layers, because there's the second layer and there's the third layer. But we gotta be safe. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm probably just gonna camp out and see if it keeps deflating. We'll keep an eye on where it's at, and then see where we're at when it gets to high tide, which is in about an hour. So we gotta monitor our boat to see if. Man, I can't believe that there could be a hole. It's deflating pretty slowly. I think we are out on the water about 3 hours until it starts sagging, and it's noticeably. So we're gonna take a break. Okay, do you see how it's not sagging anymore? I think it was a false alarm. So what happened was, I installed these electric pipes and to make it longer so that it could hold up the motor mount. But what I didn't do is I didn't drill holes into the electrical pipes so that I could put a screw in there, because the ones that it comes with, it has a screw to hold it in place. And what happened was, I think that side slipped out because I just readjusted it, and it readjusted by a lot. So I think that's what it is. I mean, it looks better, and I think I'm just being paranoid in terms of like how much air is in it. So we're gonna have to stay on this little beach right here, hang out for the evening, and then head home in the morning. So one way that I like to eat Dungeness crabs is to eat it with lime, salt, and pepper. It's just add a little more like flavoring. So the salt water that we steamed it in already makes it like pretty sweet already. But I just like the salt and pepper. Something to be wary of though, it makes you really thirsty. So you're gonna have to take a look at your inventory in terms of how much water or something to drink. So that's just something to keep in mind. All right, so last recording for the evening before it gets too dark and you won't be able to see me. And my camera's running out of battery, so I'm just gonna do one more clip for the evening, and then one tomorrow morning, and that'll be it for this trip. Okay, so you want to take a look at my bee sting. It's right there. You can still see the little red. But the surrounding area is not red, so it looks fine. And just in case you want to do a bilateral comparison of my other ankle, and it looks like I'm gonna be okay. To set up for where I'm gonna sleep. If you take a look at here, look at how the seaweed is like. There's one line right here, one right here. These are different levels of high tide. Right now it's the evening high tide, and that's as far as it's going to go. So our boat should be safe at this level, and then we should be fine just sleeping up at this level. There's a lot more flatter spots and better view, but the wind's coming from the north direction, and so we want to get out from direction of the wind just to stay warm for the night. This is actually all the clothes I brought. I think I'll be okay. It was a freaking workout just setting this up, and then also I was rowing the boat by hand. I wasn't using the motor at some point just because I wanted to get a feel for how that works, and also I was slightly concerned about the motor in terms of setting up and breaking this down. The work was getting it from my car because there's not really a spot where you can drop off all your stuff, so I had to run back and forth. All right, so let's just set up for our sleeping spot for the night. So this was what we're gonna be sleeping on is like a sleeping pad, except it's like a pad that's supposed to go underneath the where you're supposed to sit in the inflatable raft. We're gonna be using it as our bottom layer so that we can sleep on it. Okay, I thought it was, but this actually looks like an air mattress. Well, whatever, we're sleeping on it. It came inside the bag. Okay, so we're packed up on the way back. Just steamed up the rest of the crab legs and ate them for breakfast. We're just booking it back. Okay, so now that there's a little bit of water on the side of the boat, there's actually a hole in it. So we gotta make it back, and before this thing deflates. I don't think it's gonna deflate that badly. Yesterday we spent probably 2 hours with it, no problem. So we should be able to make it back in like 30 minutes. We just gotta make it all the way to that corner right there. So that'll be it for this episode. If you never see me again, that means I'm stuck out in the ocean. Well, see you next time.